Okay, good morning, my dear students. Today we're gonna discuss Module 6 of the Reading in Philippine History, titled The Cry of Balintawak or Pugadlawin. What comes into your mind if you hear the word The Cry of Balintawak or Pugadlawin? Well, yes, this is the place where, yes, Bonifacio Tirofte cedula as a symbolization of the beginning of the revolution. Yes, but before we deep in our discussion, let us first know how the Katipunan was made or how the Katipunan was established during may kaugnayan ba si Rizal dito? Meron ba? Knowing that Rizal is an anti-war or anti-revolt, no? He doesn't want war. No? Ayaw niya ng digmaan. So, may kaugnayan ba si Rizal knowing na ayaw niya ng digmaan at mas pinili niya ang pagsusulat? Meron ba? Mm-mm. Who says yes? Who says no? Well, the answer is yes, may kaugnayan si Rizal sa pagkakatatag ng Katipunan kahit na siya ay ayaw niya ng digmaan. Why? Well, because of him, Katipunan was created. Well, how did this happen? Ano nangyari yun? Ganito yan. Um, si Rizal, he created the La Liga Filipina. The Liga Filipina. Ah, yes. But after 3 days, lipas lamang ng 3 araw, itong La Liga Filipina was na na-disband, nawala. Bakit nawala agad itong La Liga Filipina? What happened to Rizal? Rizal was exiled to the Pitan. And because he was exiled to the Pitan, the La Liga Filipina was disbanded. Hmm. And doon sa La Liga Filipina, diyan unang nagkita si Bonifacio at Rizal. Na nung na-disband yan, nahati yan sa dalawang group. Nahati sa dalawang grupo ang member ng La Liga Filipina. Ang unang group is yung Cuerpo de los Compromisarios. Ang Cuerpo de los Compromisarios, ito yung member kung saan they doesn't want war. Ayaw nila ng digmaan. So, they promise na susuportahan nila ang tahimik na pakikidigmaan ng reformation by writings or pagsuporta sa propagandista sa Spain. Pero itong isang grupo, na-realize nila na hindi na effective ang written movement. Hindi na effective ang pagsusulat because yung leader nga ng reformist ay nahuli na and nothing happens. No, walang nangyari sa pagsusulat natin. So sabi nila, it's time to revolt. It's time for war. At ang isang member ay tinawag na KKK. Well, June 2, 8, yes, 1892, nabuo ang KKK or nabuo ang La Liga Pilipina rather. And yes, June 7, 1892 nabuo naman ang KKK. Well, after how many years, naging okay naman itong KKK. Palihim itong nagpaparami ng members. Well, the reason nga kung bakit to ginawa is somehow to help Rizal escape in Dapitan. Kaso itong si Rizal is tumanggi. Sabi niya ayaw ko na madugong digmaan. Oo. Huwag niyo akong itakas dito. So, naging tahimik na nagparami itong KKK. Then, hanggat dumating yung isang araw na nalaman yung KKK. Nalaman yung KKK. Kasi merong nagsuplong na merong nangyayaring KKK. Kaya, nung nalaman na may KKK, yung mga Guardia Civil, yung mga Spanish, o inuli nila yung mga members ng KKK. Then, to start the revolution, nagkaroon ng, yes, the cry of the Pugadlawin. Well, in this topic, we're gonna discuss kung saan nga ba talaga ang location. Sa Balintawak ba or Pugadlawin? Kasi some says it's Balintawak and some says it is the Pugadlawin. Okay? The cry of Pugadlawin, sigaw sa Pugadlawin, also referred to as the cry of Balintawak. Yes, was a historical event during the struggle for Philippine independence. The term cry is translated by the Spanish El Grito de Rebelión, cry of rebellion, or El Grito for short. Thus, the Grito de Balintawak is comparable to Mexico's Grito de Dolores. However, El Grito de Rebellion simply refers to decision or core revolt. It does not necessarily connote shouting, unlike the Filipino sigaw. So, during that event, wala talagang literal na nangyaring sigaw. Ang nangyari lang diyan is, ah, pagpunit ng sedula at sabi pag, pag-ano, pag-shout ng yes, mabuhay ang Pilipinas, pero walang nangyaring, long term na sigawan diyan or, yes, yung maingay talaga kasi that, guys, that is a secret, sikretong nangyari yan. So kung mag-iingay ka siyempre magiging kahina-hinala. Yes. So, because of that event na pinunit mo yung sedula, diyan nila sinasabing naging first president ng Pilipinas itong si Andres Bonifacio. Bakit, sir? Pagpunit lang ng sedula ibig sabihin, presidente na. Ang pagpunit kasi ng sedula during that time, ibig sabihin is hindi mo na kinikilala ang Spanish government. Yung sedula kasi na yun, it says that you are under the Spanish government. You're submitting yourself into Spanish government. Kaso nga, pinunit yun, so therefore, pinunit mo, if you're a member of that, ibig sabihin you're not submitting yourself, then you're submitting yourself into someone else. Yes, and yes, the Supremo of the Katipunan is Andres Bonifacio, yet he is not the yes, hindi talaga siya yung isang member, hindi talaga siya yung pinakagumawa ng KKK. May naging first president pa ng KKK bukod sa kanya. Kaso, siya yung pinaka naging sikat, no? On August 23, 1896, Andres Bonifacio and his comrades from the Katipunan Society tore their cedulas in the hills of Balintawak. This event is regarded as the starting signal of the Philippine Revolution against the Spanish Empire. So, yan. Dahil dyan, nagkaroon na ng digmaan. And the digmaan, or the KKK, yes, that is associated in the eight provinces of the Philippines na siyang makikita na sinag ng araw sa ating watawat. Kaya, yes guys, kaya may walong sinag sa watawat ng Pilipinas kasi sila yung associate sa KKK. Sila yung mga provinces na nag-support sa revolution. Okay. Mm. What are those? What are those provinces? So, di ba elementary pa lang sinasabi na yung mga meaning ng watawat ng Pilipinas. What are those 8 provinces? So, una, Maynila, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, baba, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Pampanga, and Tarlac. Oh, so that's the 8. Ni-recall ko lang kasi nasa ko na, sa memory ko yan. Yes. In this event, merong maraming controversies, no? Maraming controversies kasi hindi sila nagkakasundo kung ano nga ba talaga ang location. Hindi nila alam, they're not so sure about the location. Kaya nga nung unang mga modules pinag-aralan natin that even the primary source itself is sometimes nagkakamali din because sources has subjective side and hindi lang siya objective, meron din siyang mga subjective side na iba't ibang interpretation. Kapag may interpretation na that is not a primary source and that's not a primary source, instead that is secondary source. Yes. Differing accounts by participant and historians have served to confuse the reader regarding the factual date and place of the event. Hmm. An officer of the Spanish Guardia Civil, Lieutenant Oligario Diaz, stated that the cry took place in Balintawak on August 25, 1896. So sabi niya, nangyari yun August 25, 1896. Sabi naman dito sa PowerPoint, August 23. 'Di ba? Yes. Same goes to yes, yung the wife of Bonifacio. Sabi niya din na August 25 si Gregoria de Jesus. Mm, same goes. Well, in Teodoro Calao in his book year 1925, book The Filipino Revolution wrote that the event took place during the last week of August 1896 at Kangkong, Balintawak. So sabi naman dito, wala siyang specific date. Like, uh, in Calao's claim, there's no specific day of the August. Kasi sabi niya lang last week. So, it would be uh, 24 and up, no? Pwedeng 29, 27, 28. Basta last week. Mm. So, parang nag-play safe si Calao kasi medyo siguro lito rin siya kung ano talaga yung araw. Dito naman kay Alvarez, it's 24. Oo, 24 ng August. Mm. Kapag kay Fio Valenzuela naman, August 23, which is yung ginamit natin in this PowerPoint. So, in Calao, Santiago Alvarez, the son of Mariano Alvarez. Mariano Alvarez is the leader of Magdiwang faction in Cavite. So, therefore, Mariano Alvarez is the leader of Magdiwang faction, which is a member of Katipunan also. Stated in 1997 that the fight took place in Maitoron, now in Quezon City. So, yes, we can conclude that the event happened 30 years. No? 30 years. Nung nangyari yung event, 30 years sila sa kain interview. So therefore, date really affects the primary source. Kasi people tends to forget. Pag matagal nang nangyari, may mga information na hindi mo na maalala. Kung maalala mo man, hindi ka na so sure. No? You're not so sure about it. Hindi ka na accurate. So these people, they are primary source kaso they are affected by the time. Kasi yung event nangyari 1896. Pero in-interview sila 1927, 'di ba? So medyo matagal na. 1896 to 1927 kaya people tend to forget. According naman kay Pio Valenzuela, close associate of Andres Bonifacio, declared in 1948 that it happened in Pugadlarin on August 23, 1896. So, mas malala kay Pio Valenzuela kasi uh, the event happened 1896 pero an interview siya 1948. Then sabi niya it was happened August 23. Mm. Gregorio Saide. Gregorio Saide is the president of the Philippine History before, the dean of the Philippine History before, stated in this book in 1954 that the cry happened on Balintawak on August 26. Well, may mga sources sa book. When I was an elementary student, I remember I read a book and the date is August 26. Mm. So, yung source nila is si Zaide. Fellow historian like Chidora Goncillo reported in 1956 that it took place in Tugadlawin on August 23, 1896 echoing Pio Valenzuela's statement. So itong si Teodoro Agoncillo, isang historian. Naniniwala siya sa date. Tama daw yung date na sinabi ni Pio Valenzuela. So, in the account of Milagros Guerrero, claimed that the event to have taken place in Tandang Soras Barn in Golod, Barangay Banlat, Quezon City. So, sa ibang historian, ito'y nangyari sa, yes, somewhere in the, yes, in the Kangkong place. I don't know kung ano yung, yes, I forget. People tend to forget. Mm. Iba-iba rin ng taste. May nagsabi sa may, somewhere in the, Balintawak, pero di ganito yung ano, place, no? Yes, people tend to forget talaga. Pero mahanap yung PowerPoint na yan. Sabi dito, bahay toro. Sabi ni Santiago Alvarez, bahay toro. Sabi naman ni ano, well, karon naman, meron pang isang power. Meron pang isang slides kung saan mas makikita nyo yung differences. The National Institute of the Philippines placed a commemorative plaque marking the location of the cry in Tugadlawin. So, the cry in Tugadlawin, they're just playing safe, no? Para makater lahat ng claims. Nilagay na sa Quezon City. Guys, Tugadlawin and Balintawak is located in Quezon City. So, yan. Sa account ni Dr. Pio Valenzuela, it was August 22, 1896. 1,000 members of the Katipunan attended the meeting in the house of Juan Ramos, son of Melchor Aquino. In August 23, 1896, debate and discussion on whether or not the revolution against Spain should be started. In August 29, after the meeting, they tore their cedula and shouted, "Long live the Philippines." So, sabi ni Pio Valenzuela, Pio Valenzuela is also a historian. Sabi ni Pio Valenzuela, noong August 22, nagkaroon na daw ng meeting sa bahay ni Juan Ramos, anak ni Melchor Aquino. Kanina may claim na yung event is nangyari sa bakuran ni Melchor Aquino. Pero dito, hindi sinabi kung bakuran nga ni Melchor Aquino o bakuran ni Juan Ramos. Pero sinabi na sa bahay ni Juan Ramos. So, malay ba natin kung magkatabi yung bahay ni Melchor Aquino or Juan Ramos? Since nanay niya naman, okay. Ang event nag-start talaga noong August 22, 1896. August 23, nagkaroon ng debate and discussion. Then, after how many days? 6 days. After 6 days na pag-decisionan na nila yung kanilang discussion. Doon pa lang sila nakapag-decide, no? And noong August 29, yes, they shouted and tear their cedula. So, parang ang haba namang discussion yun, umabot pa ng ilang araw. Magde-decide lang sila kung mag-start na ba yung war or not. O magre-revolt na ba o hindi. Okay. In the account of Mariano Alvarez naman, in August 22, 1896, 10 a.m. Nung 10 a.m., 500 members muna dumating. Ito naman, nasa Sampaucan Barrio o Bahay Toro, property of Melchor Aquino. Sa account ni Valenzuela, nangyari yung event sa bahay ni Juan Ramos, anak ni Melchor Aquino. Dito naman kay Alvarez, nangyari yung event sa Barrio o Bahay Toro, property pa rin ni Melchor Aquino. Noong August 23 naman nangyari. May nilagay pa siyang time. Alas 10 ng umaga, 500 members ng Katipunan ang pumunta. Noong August 24, naging 1,000 na sila, doble. Nagkaroon ng meeting nung 10 a.m. and 12 noon, tanghaling tapat ng August 24, they tore their cedula and shouted, "Long live the Philippines." So makita nyo na, yes, iba-iba talaga yung dates, no? Kaya Pio Valenzuela umabot pa ng August 29 bago punitin ng cedula. Dito naman kay Alvarez, umabot lang ng isang araw bago punitin ng cedula. Well, sa account naman ni Gregoria de Jesus, in August 25, 1896, the first cry for freedom happened. August 25 daw, nangyari. Through my friends, pamamagitan ng kaibigan ko, sabi niya, I learned that I will be arrested by the Spanish soldier. Nalaman ko na huhulihin ako ng, ng mga Spanish soldier. Hulihin ako ng Guardia Civil. So, nung tanghaling tapat, I left our home and fled to rice fields out of La Loma. So, yun lang. Wala siya sa event mismo, pero since asawa siya ni Andres Bonifacio, sabi niya na August 25. Malay niyo nakapagkwento si Andres sa kanya kung anong date talaga. In the account of Guillermo Magsangkay naman, in August 26, 1896, the meeting was held in Balintawak, house of Apolonio Samson. At about 9 a.m., the meeting was opened with Andres Bonifacio as presiding and Emilio Acento as secretary. The topic is about whether to start the revolution or not. So, in the account of Magsangkay, in the account of Masangkay, hindi nangyari yung event sa bahay ni Melchora Aquino. Nangyari yun kay Apolonio Samson. Sabi niya 9:00. Tapos nagkaroon din ng meeting. Nagkaroon ng meeting kung mag-uumpisa na ba yung war or hindi. Kasi nagkakaroon na ng dinadakip na yung mga pinaghihinalaang member ng KKK. Well, that's the controversy, no? Hindi sila nagkakaintindihan sa date. At the certain about it is totoong may nangyaring cry of Balintawak. However, the date is not so sure. Nagkaroon ng confusion. Kasi nga, nangyari yung event 1896 tapos yung interview nangyari ng later, 30 years ago. So, medyo nakalimutan na ng mga participants. Kaya nagkaroon sila ng iba't ibang dates. Mm. Yes. So, December 14, 1897, nagkaroon ng PAC o Biak na Bato. The PAC o Biak na Bato is ceasefire. It is a ceasefire between the KKK and the Spanish ceasefire, tigil putukan. Ito yung between this truce, sa truce na to, sa PAC na to, yung mga leader ng katipunan is kailangan ma-exile sa Hong Kong. Kapalit ng danyos. That ends the Philippine Revolution. Kwentuhan ko lang kayo, ganito kasi nangyari yan. Nangyari dyan. So, nang nabuo ang KKK, 1892, ngayon 1896, gamitin natin yung August 23, 1896, nagkaroon ng Cry of Balintawak. Cry of the Tugatlawin. Then, after that, nagkaroon ng revolution. After that revolution, nagkaroon ng dalawang paksyon, Magdiwang at Magdalo. Ang Magdiwang is nasa Manila at ang Magdalo ay nasa Cavite. Dalawang paksyon. So, kadalasan ng natatalo ay yung paksyon ni Andres Bonifacio kasi nasa Maynila sila. Sila yung lagi natatalo. Kasi, saan nga ba naman ang center of force ng mga Spanish noon? Siyempre, nasa Manila for it is the center of trades. Nasa capital, no? So, yung mga tira-tira, yung mga ibang mga, or the rest of the armies na pupunta sa Cavite. And since mas konti ang Spanish force in Cavite, laging panalo ang Magdalo. So, if you're a member of KKK, saan ka papanig? Sa laging talo or laging panalo? Siyempre sa laging panalo. So, nagkaroon ng confusion. Nagkaroon ng mga hindi pagkakaunawaan. So, sabi nila, para maayos lahat yun, magkakaroon ng Tejeros Convention, yung magbobotohan sila kung sino ang magiging leader talaga ng KKK. And, in the Tejeros Convention that happened, March 22, 1890 yes, 1897, mm, March 22, 1897. In that event, Bonifacio was elected as a president. Kaso, natalo siya. From the vice president until to the very last, kung saan siya nanalo, inelect siya pero hindi siya nanalo. Pero tsaka sa officer interior, dun siya nanalo. Kaso nga, itong si Daniel Tirona, nabastos siya, binastos siya, no? Sinabi doon na Andres Bonifacio is not fit for the office. Hindi daw siya fit para ma-elect doon. Kasi he's uneducated, di daw siya nakapag-aral. Oo. Kailangan daw dapat umupo doon ay mga taong nakapag-aral. So itong si Bonifacio na bastos. Oo, kasi may usapan na bago mag-start yung election, gagalangin kung ano man ang resulta. Mm. Yun nga, nabastos siya so nilabas niya yung kanyang weapon. So anong weapon niya? Itak. Yes, there are some claims that itak based on the elementary textbook, but in reality, itak is not the weapon of Bonifacio. Hindi talaga itak yung gamit niya. Oo. Ang gamit niya ay revolver. Oo, revolver. Baril ang gamit ni Bonifacio. Hindi itak. Oo. Sana mabago na yung ganyang ano. Yes. Kasi sa elementary, kapag may painting, pag may drawing, laging itak, no? Yes. Itak para ipakita ang katapang. Itak kasi, yes, mga Pilipino is magsasaka. Ay, itak daw. Ano. Well, ang totoo ay revolver. Revolver ang weapon ni Bonifacio. Mm-mm. And, because of that, yes, nagkaroon ng Acta de Tajeros. Acta de Tajeros means, pinapawalang bisa yung nangyaring halalan. Pinapawalang bisa yung nangyaring halalan. And there's some rumors says na yung nangyaring event, the Tajeros Convention that happened March 22, 1897, saktong date yun ng birthday ni Emilio Aguinaldo. So yung pagka-presidente daw, niregalo sa kanya. Nanalo siyang president even wala siya sa event. Yes. And because of that, nagkaroon ng Acta de Tajeros. Sabi niya, bilang supremo ng KKK, pinapawalang bisa ko ang halalan na ito. Kaso, hindi yun ginalang, hindi yun natupad. Siyempre, ikaw ba naman, leader ka na tapos alangan ikaw walang bisa pa. Hindi yun nangyari. So, nagkaroon ng disagreement yung dalawang part. Nagkaroon sila ng disagreement. So, anong nangyari? yung nangyari, may lumabas na paratang na itong si Bonifacio daw ay traitor. Kasi hindi niya kinikilala ang government ni Emilio Aguinaldo. Ang nangyari, since lumabas na traitor siya, pinapatay siya, no? Merong sign. Pumirma si Emilio Aguinaldo na siya ay, yes, execute. Execute where? Maragondon, Cavite. Where in Maragondon, Cavite? Well, controversy din to, no? Some of the textbook naalala ko nung ako grade 5 nabasa ko sa Mount Buntis. Well, nung nalaman ko din nung ako elementary sa Mount Pinagpatong, pero the location of that mountains is Maragondon, Cavite. Magkatabi kasi 'yon. Magkatabi yung bundok na 'yon. So, yes. Mm. Mm. Pero sabi ko naman, syempre, yes. And ito nga doon na nilibing si Emilio Aguinaldo so, sa bundok na 'yon. Oo. Pero sa pag-aaral, no, sa mga movies, binaril daw si Bonifacio nung namatay siya, para siyang mamatay. Pero sa pag-aaral, tinaga talaga yung ulo ni Bonifacio. And isa pa, no, yung kalunos-lunos na nangyari kay Bonifacio is, yes, nagkaroon ng trial without proper trial. And nung hinuli siya nung mga alagad ni Aguinaldo, sugatan siya. Sugatan siya, no? Pumunta siya sa trial na sugatan. Sugatan talaga siya. And there are rumors says na ni-rape pa daw yung asawa niya. Sugatan si Bonifacio. So dun pumasok yung kasabihan na Bonifacio at tapang na tao kasi kahit kung sugatan na siya o humarap pa siya sa korte, 'di ba? Mm. Tapos yesterday, yes, nung tomorrow pala. Tomorrow kinabukasan nun, pinaglakad pa siya ganyan papunta sa bundok. At together with his sibling, elder brother Procopio Bonifacio, pinatay sila dun. Some says na pinagbabaril daw siya pero yung totoo, tinaga yung ulo ni Bonifacio kasi nung nirelocate yung kanyang skeleton, merong bitak, no? May taga. And itong si Bonifacio, naging ano pa, ginamit pa as a hidden agenda. Kasi nung during the Commonwealth, 1935, for the presidency of Emilio Aguinaldo and Manuel L. Quezon, naglaban kasi sila sa president ni Manuel L. Quezon and Emilio Aguinaldo. Itong si Manuel L. Quezon, pinahukay niya yung skeleton ni Bonifacio. Yes, pinahukay niya. Tapos pinarada niya sa Manila. What would be the reason why? Siyempre para ipaalala na itong si Emilio Aguinaldo, ang kalaban niya for presidency is pinatay itong si Bonifacio. Well, yes. Napakwento na rin ako about KKK, no? Yes. So, ayan nga. Mm, yan. So, si Paterno yung nagsumbong about sa KKK. Remember that, Paterno. Si Paterno. Mm. Sa ibang book it is Pedro Paterno, pero sa iba Teodoro Paterno. Then, sinumbong ng ating niya kay Mariano Kiel, isang pare. So, I guess that ends our discussion for the Module 6. Nagkaroon man ng confusion when it comes to date, but the most important is that the event really happened and took place. And that ends our meeting for the day. Bye-bye.